with our day of giving, we really wanted to touch on some of the things that have made the time we've been spending at home more enjoyable. So things like cooking or hobbies and time with loved ones. So I'm going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions here. So
Okay.
what's your favorite room in your house?
My living room, which we're in right now.
It's very nice.
Yes.
And best book you've read recently, if you've had the time.
It was a really hard book, but The Underground Railroad. I actually have it right here by Colson Whitehead. This was really hard to read, but it was a beautiful book and a beautiful story about hope and perseverance in the face of slavery. And the other book that I recently read was called March by Geraldine Brooks, also a beautiful story about the Civil War and also about slavery, obviously. So those two books, I think, have been the two that I've been reading recently. I'm also reading right now The Beautiful Struggle by Danene Sorace, who is writing about growing up in Baltimore. And that also is a really a story about persevering in the midst of so much chaos.
Mm-hmm. A fitting book for this moment in time, huh?
Yeah, I should be reading more leadership books, but I'm finding myself like wanting to just dial out.
Yeah.
Like, when I have the opportunity. I will say that this past weekend was probably the first weekend that I wasn't working, that I didn't work, but for a few hours. And that was such a gift.
Yeah, you need that. How have you been able to keep your tank full through all this?
My family, lots of hugs. Really glad that I have them to ride this out with in my home. And gardening and being outside has definitely been very therapeutic. And playing games has been good.
Yeah. My favorite part of my house is actually being outside in the yard. And we have a few fruit trees, one of which I planted last summer, and when they all bloomed, it was just beautiful.
Awesome.
And hopefully we'll get some fruit later this year. So
yeah. I will say one of the other things that I enjoy doing, which is maybe, I don't know, I enjoy cleaning. And so I've found myself doing these little cleaning projects. Like, I haven't been like going crazy, but just like scrubbing it felt like such a relief, because it was dirty before and then it's clean and it's like I did something.
It's so concrete. That's how my wife is too. That's how she has been managing stress, and it's really just like that instant gratification.
Yep.
It's done, and it's better than it was when you found it.
Yeah,
so
there is simple
totally
joy
in
vacuuming.
You could be the Marie Kondo of vacuuming or something.
I don't know.
How about food? For me, it's like the pathway to my heart goes through my stomach. So what's like the best thing you've either cooked or you've eaten during this time?
We have been treating ourselves once a week to getting burgers
Nice.
from downtown. And I'm not a big meat eater, but every now and again, that has been a real treat. And because we're supporting local businesses and able to do that. But I'm actually eating really well. And I appreciate that we have food.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna have to remember that some of our neighbors do not right now. But
yes.
There are a lot of good organizations like Central PA Food Bank and CAP and the Food Hub and others who are trying to make sure that they're closing that food gap.
Yeah.
On the TV front, I don't know if you're a TV watcher, but if you'd had the time, which I'm sure you haven't, what show would you just binge watch?
I don't know that it would be a show. I think that it might be just going back through and watching some of my all-time favorite movies.
Nice.
And just like, that sounds really awesome. I'm trying to think my husband and I sort of finished watching a few series on Netflix. And now it's kind of like, okay, what movies would we all enjoy to watch together as a family? So I would before I'd binge watch a show, I'd watch a lot of my old favorites.
That's awesome. And introduce your daughter to them, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's neat.